Empire. The Ghana Empire existed before 1500 CE. Oral resources date its inception to the 3rd or 4th century. However, written history dates the Ghanaian Empire back to the 9th century. The major economic resources were iron, salt, and gold, which they traded with other states and foreign nations. The empire amassed significant power and influence in the trans-Sahara trade and controlled the vital Awados post. They were the first Sudanese kingdom to rise to power. Their territory was west of Senegal River, south to Bura region, east of the Niger River, and north to the Awagos trade post. The empire's dominance faded around the 11th century. To the far left is the Awados Ghost trade route. This was the most economically beneficial route at the time. And then that second yellow dot is Ghana, where it was placed in the region at the time. Their other export items from the region were sorghum, bulrush, millet, and Orza galbarina rice, which is a local rice to the region, and then also yams. They spoke primarily Niger-Congo, which is a derivative of the Bantu language developed around 3000 BCE. Migration led to other subsets of their ancestral language like Niger, Congo-Foreign. Most of West Africa spoke some variation of Niger-Congo throughout the territory. Religion, according to al-Barkari, the Niger-Congo traditional religious practices involve the worship of ancestors, although some Ghanaians began to convert to Islam. Amazigh merchants introduced Islam to West Africa. Rome had conquered North Africa in the 1st century. The subsequent travel by camel led them further west into the Trans-Sahara region. Arabic countries desired access to the land of gold and its other commodities. The first Islamic state was erected after the death of Muhammad in 632 CE. Okay, Islam in West Africa. The introduction of transportation by camel by the Amazigh merchants brought Islam and political organization to West Africa. Urban dwellers and traders were the first to adopt the Islamic religion in the 8th and 9th century. Islam also brought literacy and the written language called Amajad to the region. The most desired export was West African gold for the Arabic nations. At this time, there was no regional religious practice. Many worshipped Islam and then also still followed the traditional Niger-Congo practice. This divide resulted in many Muslim vassal states withholding their loyalty and their monetary support. Regions. So this slide just shows how far Islam had spread within the very top grayed out part of North Africa. It was pretty much completely converted. And then these small like shaded regions where it was starting to move and convert the entire population over to Islam. Okay, loss of the empire. The Awadosh Ghost trade route was captured by Muslims in the northern region of the kingdom in 1054 AD. This change in the trade route to the east by the Muslim nations was beyond the Ghanaians' control. Several battles with the Sanhaji Berbers, a Muslim empire in the lower Senegal River territory, up to the Maghreb region, and Spain in the north in the 11th century. Also, more vassal states converting to Islam and refusing to financially support a non-Muslim leader, and then the loss of fertile soil due to overgrazing and a growing population. In Ghana and West Africa. Around 1470, Portugal first occupied the islands of São Tomé and Príncipe in West Africa. They used enslaved Africans to work their sugar plantations. Human export was monopolized by the Portuguese until Europe took control and exacerbated the slave trade to the New World. After 1640, the transatlantic slave trade became the dominant economic export from the region. Some West African kingdoms like the Dahomey profited as well. It was usually lower class ethnic groups, criminals, and weaker tribes that were the first groups taken to the New World for involuntary labor. The regions that exported Africans for labor were the Cabenine, the Angola, the Bight of Barfa, Niger, and the Cameroons. Okay, so this is the regional participation in the slave trade. So these are the regions that primarily where enslaved Africans were taken to the New World or taken to other locations to do involuntary labor. This is some information I found about how some disabled Ghanaians are treated within the region. So it's religious myths, disabilities, and Paralympics. An estimated 74,000 Ghanaians live with some form of physical disability, yet cultural stigma and outdated religious myths force them to live in the outskirts of society. Individuals born with disabilities are thought to be paying for a parental sin, or they're afflicted with maybe some type of magical power, a river spirit, sorcerer, a witch, or they're just non-human. They are thought Their affliction is thought to be contagious by able-bodied Ghanaians, and they are seen as unable to assimilate into normal societal roles. Conditions are worse for women, children, and people without caregiver support. A large portion of the disabled community are financially unstable, impoverished, uneducated, and unemployed. Advocates from this article push for the government to intervene and raise the standard of existence for all Ghanaians. Continued religious myths, disabilities, and Paralympics. Okay, so Ghana ratified the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in 2006, and in 2016 to 2021, the Ministry of Youth and Sports implemented provisions for sports inclusion for people with disabilities. Although disabled Ghanaians report ongoing discrimination and inadequate economic, social, and political rights, the district sports unit members and district assembly members in these southern and northern regions admit to intentionally excluding them from programs or withholding information regarding the program's existence. They have stated dealing with them, the disabled people, is demanding. Members of the DSU and DSA report that budgeting for these citizens is available. However, the resources are rarely allocated to fully fund these programs. Heads of the regional sports office often ignore requests for funds and threaten to terminate employment if questioned regarding the lack of funding. Members of the DSU, the citizens, state that they feel they are used as props for national sports events such as the Paralympics, but are often relegated to the shadows of society. Okay, so this is present day Ghana. It consists of 16 states, and its total population is 35,100,000. So present-day Ghana. Ghana won its independence from Britain on March 6 of 1957, and their current economic resources are rare minerals, gold, diamonds, manganese, bauxite, iron ores, clay, and salt deposits. They have rich forests with fine tropical hardwoods, agriculture and fisheries, wildlife parks, beaches, and unique tourist attractions.